Let's be real. Is it even Halloween if there are no pumpkins around? I think not. BrickoMotion. Hello, Claire here. This year I'm gonna do something different and celebrate Halloween in November. Because why should we limit the goosebumps only to October? Also, it took me more than a month longer than planned to prepare all of this, so here we are. Today, in the spirit of Halloween, I'll create pumpkin costumes for Cindy and her Prince Charming. To do that, I'll use my own pattern, and if you want to follow along with me, you can create your own pattern or save yourself the trouble and get this one on BrickoMotion.com. As you can see, my Halloween patterns, aptly named Creepy Costumes, contain both a blank and an already painted pumpkin costume. I'm gonna give the colored one to Prince Charming, and I'll do something special for Cinderella that I'm not gonna say right now. I obviously printed out my patterns beforehand, and now I'll cut out the pattern using a craft knife and a hole puncher. On a cutting pad, of course. I don't want to damage my fancy IKEA desk. The hole puncher I'm using creates holes with a 3mm diameter and is tricky to use. I'll make a trial hole, works great. Hopefully that continues. Yeah, it didn't. Oh well. Because the hole I made is not too much off where it's supposed to be, it's probably salvageable. With the craft knife, I'll just expand the hole to also encompass all it should have from the beginning. I cut the middle out as well, that's where the legs will go, before I cut the whole pattern out. I find it much easier to cut out the tiny and or intricate bits first and then move on to the longer, straighter lines. It reduces the crumpling. With this particular pattern, it's extremely important to cut the black border out and no more, except this hole, obviously. The costume's meant to fit tightly, and it won't if you cut out too much. If you cut out too little, you'll still be able to save it. Probably. Before I put this on Prince Charming's Minidoll, it's time to cut out Cinderella's costume as well. I wanted to know what this pattern would look like if I were to print it out in black and white instead of color, obviously. It looks kinda like a ghostly pumpkin. I love it. I want it on a Minidoll ASAP. Which means I have to repeat the whole process of cutting for this pumpkin. We're all adults here. We can acknowledge that this is a process and just do it. At least this time the hole puncher worked better. As the saying goes, a cleanly punched hole is half the cutting. I'll speed this part even more up because I'm just repeating myself. When all is cut out, what I like to do is paint the borders of the pattern. Is this a necessary step? Absolutely not. Will I be doing it on every pattern regardless? Absolutely yes! Especially for the costumes that are supposed to be darker, this little trick is going to take them from being good to being great. And of course I want my costumes to be great. Who wouldn't? It is a bit time consuming though, and it can be a bit fiddly, but let me just be clear. you really don't have to do this. This was just me making sure the video doesn't get finished until November. When that's all done, I'm ready to try the pumpkin costumes on the mini, except I took the wrong charming. Let's get him back. He has the big torso. The pattern's not gonna work on the big torso, it just works on the smaller ones. So put the costume on with the painted side down onto the legs. Secure it in place with the torso and squeeze in the hands in the widest parts. This costume looks different from the back and from the front, but you can rotate it so the front can become the back and the back can become the front. It's up to you which side you prefer. Then you fold all of these leaves up onto the neck. I recommend putting the ones on the front last. And then the head will lock everything in place. You can move the Minidoll's arms a little bit and use your fingers to shape the pumpkin. And then it's done. I'll do the same thing for Cinderella. And no, it is not a coincidence that Cinderella in her blue and silver ball gown is getting the grey ghost pumpkin, while her prince with his red pants is getting the orange one. I can be intentional with my choices sometimes. And now I think they both look amazing. And weren't really that hard to create. Depending on how well you follow the lines while cutting out the patterns and in which order you layer them onto the neck, some gaps might appear, some are necessary, for the hands to stick out. But here's also where painting of the edge of the pattern makes a big difference. Especially if you paint it in a darker color, then even if there is a hole, it will not look as huge as if it had white borders. Yes, I am telling you this while assuming you are going to make them out of a white paper. Of course, you can print them out on a colored paper or transfer them to any other paper. I'm just trying to explain the most common scenario. Cinderella and Prince Charming now have amazing Halloween costumes, even though Halloween was a while ago. But never mind that, it will come again. Until then, they can play hide and seek in my pumpkin patch. Ready or not, here I come! Oh, Cindy, it's like you're not even trying. Fine, I'll go then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ready or not, here I come! Darling, I don't think this game is working for us here. When my 9-year-old daughter saw these costumes, this was her reaction. Mommy, can I paint this? Can I paint this? Can I paint this, please? Please. Now. Can I? So this is what she came up with. She wanted to create a costume for Belle, and she wanted to do a yellow pumpkin to fit Belle's ball gown. And then the only change she had to do to Belle was to change the hair, because Belle's hair is kind of long and plastic hairs are notorious for not bending, and updo it had to be. Now she painted it in the similar vein of how I painted my pumpkins. I did cut the costume out for her because she said, "Mommy, please." And just like that, I have 3 sorts of minidoll pumpkins in my pumpkin patch. And since my daughter wanted a whole pattern for herself, she also made me cut out the painted one and put her on Azari, the character from Lego Elves, if somebody still remembers that theme. She also had to have her hairstyle changed, but other than that, the costume looks like it was made for her. And now that I have her here, I'm gonna use her to show you the size comparison to a big Lego pumpkin. They're somewhat of the same-ish size, The pattern is just missing the creepy eyes and mouth. But maybe you can paint them on. There are several things I really like about this pattern. I have not seen Lego do anything similar to this, so I'm kinda proud of making it up. I love how it covers up basically the whole torso, so you don't have to worry about which torso to use for this costume. You just need to worry about the legs part and the hair part, because you need short hair for it to work, so. Lego is generally very blocky, so this pattern makes me extra happy. It's so un-Lego-ish, kinda in a good way, especially on Minidolls, because the Minidolls are already un-Lego-ish too. Now the question is, what kind of costume would you create? And are there other things that this costume could be appropriated to? Also coming up in other videos are all of the other creepy costumes that I made. Next, I'll show you what I did with my demon wings. If you like these costumes and would like your Minidolls to dress up in them as well, they are available on BrickoMotion.com. And this is what the original orange pumpkin looks like. And by original, I mean the one that I have physically painted, then scanned, and now you can print out and create your own. I'd say its colors are a bit more vibrant, but that might also just be because my printer is not the best in the world. But yeah, happy pumpkinin' and happy Halloween in November. Until the next time you click on one of my videos, bye bye!